Hello, my friend. Welcome to the Artist Next Level podcast. Always a pleasure to be with you. In this episode, I want to share with you a conversation that I had with my good friend Beth Inglish. She's an artist and entrepreneur. We met in Nashville many years ago, and we have been very good friends ever since. And just about maybe 3 months ago or so, we started doing a video conversation every Wednesday. So every Wednesday, we pick a topic and we talk about it. We take turns. She sometimes picks the topic. Sometimes I pick the topic. And, every Wednesday, we record it and we put it out there in our social medias. And so today I want to share one of those episodes. On this particular session, we talk about, how to improve your artist brand, something that I'm very passionate about, as you probably already know, if you've been listening for a while. I talk about, what's a brand, how to improve it, some things that you can do so that people can see you and remember you in a better and easier way. So I hope you enjoy it. It's a short episode, but I think it's really full of great insights and value that can help you in your art career. So enjoy.
Resources, inspiring interviews, business practices, and practical advice to take your art career to the next level. Join Sergio Gomez in today's Artist Next Level and get ready to take control of your career.
Beth, it's good to see you once again, like every week. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's great to see you too. I just love having these weekly conversations because they're helping so many people. I mean, have you seen the comments and the audience out there just loving the conversations we're having? Because it's both about sort of like personal and professional, like how to be an artist, like the full package.
Absolutely. The value of creativity that we talked about last time, that you give us some tips. Last time I got quite a bit of comments of artists in my community who really love that topic. So I think that was a good one. Guys, if you missed it, go and check it. Last week, we talked about, Beth shared some really important kind of tips and ideas on the value of creativity. And I think something that is really cool and useful. And today we're going to chat about the brand, right? The artist brand. And by that, first of all, don't get scared about the word branding. A lot of artists sometimes they hear branding like, oh, so you're coming to commercial or whatnot, right? Simply, let's define what I mean by a brand. A brand is simply how people see you, how they remember you. Right? A brand is simply your reputation that you have as an artist. And in the world of today of social media and the internet, we all have a reputation, good or bad, or or anywhere in between, right? So a brand is pretty much simply how people, recognize you. And remember, how I recognize Beth and how I remember Beth, that's because of the brand that she has built around her. And I have to say that, Beth, you have a very clean brand. Since I met you, I've always been very good at that yourself.
Thank you. I love yours too. I feel like I've always looked up to you. So
excellent. Well, I think we can help each other out today and help our friends as we think about branding. So what I want to share with you is kind of like 3 ideas that you can use to improve your brand. In other words, how people see you, how people remember you, right? The whole idea of a brand is that it helps you to be identified among everybody else, right? It helps you to stand out among the whole crowd and the whole world of artists or creatives or whatever you may end up being, right? A good, clean brand that is memorable, that's powerful, that what I call sticky, is one that stands out. And I think it happens when you meet someone and then you start to follow that person and you remember that person, right? And in case I think as us as artists, of course, I think it all starts with our art. Right, you cannot build an artist brand if you don't make art. So let's start with that. The way I'm going to kind of share this little idea is with the shape of a triangular. I don't know why I like triangles, and I do a lot of things with triangles. I talk about the art collecting with a triangle, but I like this one too as a triangular shape. So in the middle of that is our art, right? I think it all starts with our art or your creative endeavor, whatever it may be, whatever type of, creative endeavor you may have. In my case, and is my art, right? When I talk about my art. So right in the center is the art. And outside of the art, I see always like 3 points that will help us to identify the brand. Because here's the cool thing about the brand is that you cannot really copy somebody else's brand because it won't be unique to yours, right? And not two people have the same brand, right? We are all seen and remembered by different things. Like Beth and I, for as much as we can try, we can do a video every single day, and still, we are not the same people, right? And we have our uniqueness. So at the top of the brand, so let's start with that one. At the top of the brand, on that triangular shape, 3 points to improve your brand is the uniqueness of your story. To start telling more of your story. And Beth and I, we have Beth, we have talked about the importance of story in a number of episodes before. And, the story is one of the distinctions of our brand. And I think the importance of really clarifying your story, actually sitting down, writing it down, looking at what are the high points and low points in my story, and then taking that, simplifying it so that you can speak about that in your messaging, your posts, your emails, things of that nature. How do you use story in your own brand, Beth?
That's where I start every sentence. Like every time I try to engage with my audience, I want them to know about, the why behind it. Why am I wanting to connect with them? What is it that I have to say that's going to create that connection? Am I offering value? It's like always about how can I take what I know and share it with others to help benefit them. And so if I just approach it from a place of being vulnerable and sharing value, I feel like that's how we can connect more deeply with others. What about you?
Absolutely. I try to use story, very proactively in just about every post that I do in social media. Even when I post something that might be not too important, I try to think about what's the story behind it, or how can I tell a mini story, a mini memory, or an anecdote, or something that will connect with my audience in some way. And I found that since I started doing that, really the engagement and the community around my art really, really started to prosper in that way. Because story is valuable. And the cool thing about story is that none two of us in the world and in the history of humankind has the same story.
Exactly.
So nobody can copy your story, right?
No.
Because nobody else has lived it but just you. So that's one big asset of your brand is your story, my friend. So one way to improve, your artist brand, start telling your story, and stories, not just the main big story,
Right.
but little mini stories that you have. So the second one, Beth, that I want to share in this kind of like little triangular shape is what I would call, our experiences or our influences, right? Or influences, they kind of go together because our experiences are the results, also the influences that we had over time from the people that we look up to, right? We all have, influences from our professors, from mentors, from our parents, from our friends, and also in terms of our art, from other artists that we looked at. When we look at the history of art, I remember my first art class, my eyes were wide open and my ears trying to listen to what the professor had to say about, these artists and their own influences, right? He or she had on that particular time in history. So it is really fascinating for me how our influences, help us to create our brand, because not two of us have been influenced by exactly the same things. How about you, Beth? How do you see influences taking part on your brand overall?
I mean, I feel like what drives every next step forward. We have a new experience. We maybe meet someone. We go to a show. We have a new idea. We're constantly being influenced everywhere we turn. And I think sometimes when we are more aware of what is influencing us, it's easier to communicate that. So just being aware of like how you're being inspired. And I think those are great stories, because what it does is it invite people in to have those same experiences, to be aware and look around and say, what inspires me? I could see how that inspired someone else, so what is it that I need to bring into my life, or the influences I need to adopt so that I'm constantly being inspired, and then can go and tell that story. It's just like this beautiful ripple effect.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. And again, when we use that, in our posts, in our emails, in our things, those influences, I think it makes it more interesting.
Definitely.
Then people also remember us for those things, right? And it's okay to talk about what inspires us, what influences. Even like, when you post something like, I don't know what to say, just say, what inspired you that day? What motivated you that day to get up and get in the studio? That's a little mini story that, is very unique to yours. And the third one, at the other side of the triangle, so we talk about your story, we talk about your influences or your experiences. And then on the other side, to complete that triangular shape, is your values. because each one of us, again, has unique values. And I have an exercise that I do inside the Art Next Level Academy with my students and my members where, we talk about, when we talk about the elevator pitch, I always say, okay, also define what are the 3 key words that are of value to you and what are they? And so everybody does a little mini video where they talk a little bit about the art and then they share their 3 words that they value. So I found that, that also gives us a whole repertoire of ideas when it comes to sharing, when it comes to, putting something on social media or making an email to your email list and so on, or speaking on video, talking about the things that we value. In my case, for example, kind of like 3 words that are very special to me is my relationships. I love relationships. I love connecting with people. That's a big part of something that I value as a person. As an artist, I also value the cycles of life, and my art has been this ongoing search for understanding the cycles of life. And third, spirituality. Those are 3 big values that are, always present wherever I go. So that gives me another set of ideas to talk about in a post. So I might make a post on Instagram or Facebook or whatnot, and maybe I'll talk today about one of my values, why I value relationships, for example, and that makes the post interesting. How do you use, values in your own brand?
I talk about all the things that I value, and because mostly I want to, connect with those who value the same things, because then I think that's how we can start a conversation. And so if I talk about, the fact that I value joy, or that I value overcoming struggle, and how I, paint that, and how I live in the world by practicing these things, then it invites other people to, say, hey, I want to do those things too, or I value that, but I didn't see it from your perspective. And so it's just a great way to create a well-rounded view around all the things that we value and how other people go out in the world with those values. I think that in itself is inspiring too, just to hear what someone else values, because it makes you question, well, what is it that I value? What's in my heart? And that sometimes brings up new information that is really useful. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think it comes out natural, right? When we are aware of our values in our conversations. And if you guys have been following, our Wednesday chats, I think you have probably picked up some of our values, right? Beth, you talk about joy quite often, creativity, and, helping us kind of overcome our obstacles. And as you shared it, and those are kind of like some of the topics and ideas that come often in our chat, right? And I think when we are aware of it, like you are aware of the things that you value, it just comes out naturally. You don't have to push it. You don't have to fake it. You don't have to create some sort of weird framework, because it's already within you. And you have that awareness that brings them out spontaneously, and I think creatively, and also naturally. And that's great. So that's pretty much the framework that I wanted to share with our friends today, how to improve your artist brand. Again, from this point forward, talk about those 3 things, because nobody else can copy you on those 3, because those are very unique to you. Again, your story as a creative, as an artist, as a person, your experiences and influences, and lastly, of course, your values. So when you combine all those and you share them with your people, that you will attract the right people to you, and that will create a very strong and what I would call a sticky brand. So how do you like that, Beth? And let's wrap it up.
I think those are all such great tips. And, when you do that frequently and consistently over time, people will start to think of you exactly how you are expressing yourself out in the world. So to create that sticky brand, just remember, don't stop sharing all of those things. Do it over and over and over again in lots of different new ways, and your audience will begin to know you exactly for that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, my friends, for checking this out. If this is your first time joining us, we do this every Wednesday, same time of the day at 10 a.m. Central Time. So check it out, and more importantly, also share it with your friends. And we would love to hear from you. Let us know, how you like them. So, Beth, how can our friends find you on social?
You guys can find me on Facebook and Instagram, and on my website at bethenglish.com.
Well, hello, friends. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. It was pretty fun to have that conversation with Beth English. We do this every Wednesday, so you can find it on Beth English, her Instagram account that she just shared, or on mine at Sergio Gomez Art. And let me tell you, there's a brand new way to connect with me. There's a brand new way to connect with me via text. So now you can text me at 708-627-9103. Again, text me to 708-627-9103. Let me know how you like this episode. Be part of my texting community. I'm going to be doing all kinds of fun and creative things with that community. Like, for example, impromptu Zoom meetings and sessions where you can come and talk about, the things that are happening in your career and things like that. So check it out. Again, just text me. Let me know how you like this episode. 708-627-9103. Hope to hear from you very soon. Goodbye.
Check out our website at www.theartistnextlevel.com, where you will find our podcast library, learn about our upcoming webinars, find resources relevant to your career, and much more. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, and we'll see you at the next level.